Okay, we are streaming live now. We are still waiting for quorum though, and we'll do it. Oh, I see Matt just joined us. Hi, Matt.
Hey.
So we'll do a quick quorum check. One more time. I see on the labor side, I see Dave has joined us. On the management side, I see, I just see Marlene is popping in. So on the labor side, I have 2 people so far. I have Dave and Marlene. On the management side, I have 3 people so far. I have Neil, Rich, and Matt. Is there anybody who's a committee member who's joined that I did not call?
Tony, I'm here.
Hey, Tony. So I have 4 on management and 2 on labor. So we're still waiting for quorum. And just a reminder for those that are joining for the public, you are muted. If you are wanting to make a comment, a public comment, when we do get to that part, you'll need to unmute yourself to make that comment.
It's Paul Beachley.
Hey, Paul.
Good morning.
Okay, so Dave, we do have quorum. There are 2 more members that are expected to join, but we do have quorum at this point. We have 3 on the labor side and 4 on the management side.
Okay, Paul, so if that's appropriate for a quorum, can we call the meeting order? I'd like to call the meeting order at 9:01. Is that correct? At 9:01. And we will go right to the next item on this, I guess, will be the public comments. And I'll let you or Jenny facilitate that part of the agenda.
Sure. So now public comment is the time to make any comment on the agenda or anything under the JLMBC action. If you are a member of the public and like to make a comment, please unmute your phone and announce yourself at this time. Hearing no public comment.
Thank you, sir. If no public comments, we'll move to the next item, which is the approval, review, and recommendation for approval of minutes. Do we need a moment to review or are we ready to make anyone have a?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of Paul Beachley.
I'll second. This is Neil.
Okay. Motion's been made by Paul Beachley and seconded by Neil. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And we do need to take a, sorry, Dave, we do need to take a roll call vote since it's a telephonic meeting. So we can, that's okay. No problem. I'll start it off. So we'll go in order, labor and then management. So we'll start off with you, Dave. Dave, your vote.
Aye.
Dave votes aye. Paul, your vote.
Aye.
Paul votes aye. Marlene, your vote.
Aye.
Marlene votes aye. Then we'll move over to, did anybody else on the labor side join us? Do we have Gary or Chris? No, okay. So on the management side, Neil, your vote?
Aye.
Neil votes aye. Rich, your vote?
Aye.
Rich votes aye. Tony, your vote?
Aye.
Tony votes aye. Matt, your vote?
Aye.
Matt votes aye. Three ayes on labor, 4 ayes on management. It's unanimous. It passes.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, well, I'm on the call. I don't know if it's Wendy.
Oh, hi. Hi, Wendy. Wendy, then since you're here, your vote?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous still.
Thank you, and good morning, Wendy. The next item, number 4, Committee Report 2101, Health Service Request for Proposal.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'll present this report. I did, though, want to note at the outset that we do have all of our consultants with us as well, including from Keenan, Lori LaFranco, Megan Gardner, and Borden Darm, and Steve Murphy from Siegel, and Paul, of course, as well. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the report and the RFP, and note for you in particular some of the areas where we've attempted to make improvements on our search process compared to the last medical procurement, which was 5 years ago. So we'll start on page 2, where we just wanted to remind you as we launch this process of what our membership composition looks like. The chart at the top of that page indicates that we have over 60% of our membership in Kaiser, with about 1/3 of our population in the non-Kaiser HMO and PPO plans, and then that's rounded out by the 5% of our members that are in cash in lieu. Listed below that chart are the 5 plan types that we offer, and which are all incorporated within the proposed RFP. This table we've created indicates that, what the distinguishing features are of each of the plan types, and also, the rationale for why, from a broader plan design perspective, these are included within the LA Well program. Each of them provides features that are unique and which may appeal to different segments of our membership. In terms of for the vendor community in responding, as we've noted in the report, they can propose for a standalone offering, or they can propose certain plan types in combination with one another. The RFP does make clear that the city reserves the right to contract with multiple vendors or more than one vendor within a provider category. Basically the intent there is to give the JLMBC and the city the maximum amount of flexibility as we consider proposals. Moving on to page 3, we always within our RFPs try to provide the vendor community with pertinent information regarding our program and the resources that we're soliciting. We did call out a couple of items for this procurement that have become institutionalized for the LA Well program. One is the wellness funding, and the other are the local member advocate resources. One thing we're doing slightly differently in this RFP on wellness is that we think that it should be proportional to the provider's share of the membership. So as an example, with the staff model HMO, which has 60% of the population, we would ask there that the wellness funding allocation would be 60% of this annual $2 million allocation. So moving along to the minimum qualifications, we have a few core requirements, but overall, we're not overdoing these. We don't expect that we're going to be receiving proposals from firms that lack the kind of organizational reliability that we'd expect for a large program like ours. So we didn't sort of want to overdo it with the minimum qualification. So now, in terms of the review process, we do have some changes which we've, from the prior procurement which we've described here. We do think this represents some improvements in process, and overall, I would say that our key objectives here are to provide the city with maximum flexibility, but also to provide you as in your role of making a recommendation with as much transparency as possible with the information that comes back. And of course, there's going to be a large volume of information coming back. So as you know, in most RFPs, we typically use a quantitative points-driven system to communicate what our evaluation is and the ranking of the proposer responses. But as we thought about the complexity of this RFP and just the nature of healthcare services and all the considerations that go along with selecting a provider, we thought a better approach would be to provide the JLMBC with more qualitative assessments of the various RFP categories and subcategories. So what does that mean? It's instead of us coming back to you and indicating vendor X received 822 points and vendor Y got 815 points, what you'll be seeing instead are qualitative descriptions which fall into broader bands such as excellent and very good and so forth, and we've listed all of those. So we'll do that for each vendor. we'll do that for each primary category, subcategory, and of course, the overall assessment. So there will still be math that underlines the process that we go through in looking at individual questions and responses and making sure that that the values are weighted appropriately, because there are some there are categories of information that are worth more than others. But in terms of communicating the overall assessment back to the JLMBC, the intent here is to really give that to you in a qualitative narrative format. So, and then what goes along with that, and is really crucial, is that our objective with this RFP is to really provide you with a much higher level of documentation, explanation, summarization of the information contained within the vendor proposals than we typically provide you with RFPs. So you're going to see more than you're probably used to, but our intent here is to really be abundantly transparent on the justifications for why we've reached the conclusions that we've reached. So that kind of leads to the next iteration for this RFP, which is, well, Paul and I are going to be the formal raters. We are going to be supported by both of your consultants, who will be conducting their own independent analyses right along with us. They'll be reviewing all of the information that's coming back from the proposals. They'll be providing us with their own narrative assessments and judgments and justifications. Paul and I will be taking all of that information into account, that information will help us, particularly in areas that are very technical, in which we really rely on the consultants to do the analysis. But then all of that is coming back to the JLMBC. So as I said, we're trying to bend over backwards to be very transparent. So if there are areas where there might be differing points of view, then we'll bring that back and we will share that with the JLMBC.
So Stephen, do you want to go through the whole report, or can I ask questions as you go, just in particular on this issue?
Sure, yeah, if you want. I mean, there were just a few more points I wanted to make, but if
sure, go ahead. No, go ahead and finish your points, and I'll wait.
Sure. As I said, this will be more work for the staff. It'll be more work for the JLMBC, but given the significance of the services, we do think it's the right approach. The two other points that I wanted to make in terms of process is that as we move this into the JLMBC's consideration of the proposals, the RFP does provide for the opportunity to ask the proposers for a best and final fee proposal. And then it also provides the JLMBC the opportunity to ask for presentations for some or all of the proposers. And then the other 2 points for the report, we've provided the draft pledge form regarding conflict of interest, confidentiality, and so forth. I just wanted to say, this is mandatory for personnel staff, but it's optional to JLMBC members. So we're also asking you to approve that form. And then after we take some questions and wrap up, I can just talk a little bit about the scheduling. So with that, Dave, if you have some questions, or any of the other members have some questions, I'm happy to take those.
I don't know if other members have before. I just had one. I thought I saw another hand. Shauna and Wendy, did you have a question? I don't know. I thought I saw hands there. I can't really see the screen there.
I could jump in, David. This is Shauna. Good morning, everybody. I just, looking at the composition of the review committee, I know previously David had raised the issue of having a JLM member from the labor side included, and I don't know that we got a response back. I know there was some discussion about whether that was allowable within policy, but I don't think we got a final on that, a final response on whether that is something that's allowed under policy, or what the status of that is. So if you could speak to that, please.
And
Sure.
just so you know, that's in part my question also, Stephen. So
okay. Well, so first of all, I mean, I just think as a practical matter, the process concern is that there's a body with the JLMBC that's making recommendations, and our objective is in order to protect the process is to ensure that everybody has access to the same information. So that's part of why we are being as transparent and providing more information coming back. I think the only other option to sort of keep all of that neutral for all of the committee members is to have every committee member reviewing all of the responses, which I don't think would be appropriate and not really practical. But aside from that, in terms of the legal question, it's my understanding that's from the perspective of the city attorney that's not permissible, but I wouldn't want to speak for them. But that's my understanding.
and this is David. I know we had that discussion. I didn't get a legal opinion. I don't know if the attorney's on the call here now, but if you're saying, and I'm going to paraphrase this, that if a labor person is a part of the committee, that would contaminate the process unless everybody's on the committee. I don't know if that's necessarily true. And if there's a labor person on the committee, there's still the obligation, the pledge to supporting a conflict of interest that gets signed off on. So I'm not clear legally or otherwise, or why that would be prohibited. And if needed, and this is a second question, if needed, is that a motion that can be made or can be voted on, or how does that determine that yourself and Paul are the committee itself? I'm not opposed to that, but I don't know how we came to the conclusion that only the two people, the two of you all would be the committee without a vote or a participation from the labor side. And I do appreciate this is the effort in transparency and making it a qualitative review. I appreciate that effort. I still think that I'd also request that there be a labor party on the committee. So I don't know if the attorney's on, if there needs to be a motion. I'm looking for direction. What do we move from there?
So Charles, did you want to comment?
Sure, this is Charles Hong, Deputy City Attorney. I am not the drafter of the analysis, but I have reviewed the analysis. My understanding is that the JLMBC's role in this process is very specific. It deals with making recommendations that are suitable to the employee benefits program. Its role is not to be involved in the RFP process or its review. And so therefore, it functions within a narrow space within the confines in which the City Council has conferred authority to the JLMBC. For members to sit on the RFP process would basically be an infirmity to that council authorization, and then you would be involved in a process in which the JLMBC committee has no authority to be involved in.
And I appreciate that. I just haven't. I don't know what that distinction. If you could give me that in writing, where that distinction comes from. All of this is part of the process. This review, this reporting back to the JLM. I don't know how you've determined what's selectively not. RFP is not, but other subcommittees are. I'm just not clear on that part. And with that, and moving this draft forward, that still needs a full recommendation from the JLM itself. Is that correct?
So, well, in terms of the composition of the review panel, I think that decision doesn't need to be made today. Like if there's some additional information that you're looking for, there's still time, because obviously the RFP hasn't even gone out yet. So I do think that the the RFP could go out, or we could move forward on the RFP, and then if there's additional reporting that needs to come back with respect to the rating panel, we could deal with that separately.
So that I'm clear, if we move forward with the RFP draft, that does not preclude us from making or adding or amending the review committee or a proposal to do so. Does not.
I don't believe so, and I mean I think we the composition of the review panel, that's at the city's discretion, and that process doesn't start until the responses to the proposal of the actual responses to the RFP come back.
So so I'm clear, if we approve this draft today, moving forward to RFP, I am not, or the labor side is not precluded at a later date from amending that. Is that, I think you said that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's put this down. Let's put this down the road.
I'm sorry. This is Deputy City Attorney Charles. Is the question asking once the RFP is released, you can go back and then amend the RFP?
If the RFP includes that this is the review committee as it's drafted here, that's what I'm asking, because I'm still opposing the structure of the review committee at this point.
I see.
So if I
Okay.
need not to, if that means I need not to approve or vote against sending the draft forward, that's my question. Or can we move the draft forward with a consideration still being available to modify parts of the RFP, including the review committee?
So right now, Charles, the language in the RFP says that the review committee will be composed of city staff and supported by LAWell program consultants. Now, we don't need to say that, like that we could say there will be a review committee before this is actually issued. The other thing also is that when you're going through the process of when the RFP is out on the street, there are always opportunities to make amendments to certain parts of the RFP, and as long as those are published and they are incorporated into the RFP, then that's a normal part of the process. In fact, that happens every time as questions come in. So anytime we get written questions, we respond to them in writing, and we incorporate them as attachments and amendments to the RFP.
So Stephen, I'm proposing to you and Mr. Hung that if in fact this draft itself, in terms of review committee, that section, if we could eliminate or not include the structure of it that says it shall be Paul and Stephen in this draft, I'm okay. I think I'm okay with moving forward. We could remove that part. And what I'm hearing you also say at a later date, we can, whatever conclusion we come to, we can if that includes the labor chair at some point or a labor participant at some point, we can do that. But I also see Paul Beasley has a proposal or motion. I think he wants to speak. Paul?
Well, mine is that we approve the RFP. I like what Dave's talking about down the road. If we need to add somebody, that's fine. But I think that the RFP process needs to get going, because everything takes forever.
Yeah, but I think what Mr. Hong has said is that we cannot go back and modify that part unless we do it now in terms of the structure of the committee. And am I correct, Mr. Hong, or did I misrepresent what you said?
No, my concern, I think, was, I understand, as Stephen explained this, once the RFP is released, if things are going to be changed within the RFP, as Steve mentioned, then obviously that has to be made public to all those proposers as well. And so my concern is the function of this review committee, whether that would, in exercising its review, whether that would be an encroachment on beyond what the JLMBC members are permitted to do in the RFP process.
Okay. So Stephen, and at the committee itself, what I'm proposing is to remove the defining of the structure of the review committee and move forward with the rest of the draft. Can we do that? Make that amendment or modification?
I would support that. This is Neil.
So do I need to make a motion to do so?
Do we
Is that-
need a motion?
would that pro-
We need a motion to amend.
Well, I think when what I would suggest is when all questions and answers are done,
Okay, sure.
and someone makes a motion to approve, we just say, with this amendment. And if there's anything else that comes up, we incorporate that as well.
I will hold that in queue. You can move on with the rest of the presentation. Thank you.
Stephen, really quickly, sorry, this is Shauna. I did have some technical questions about the actual body of the draft RFP. Do you want me to raise that here, or would you prefer that I just send a separate email? Some of it's typos, but some of it I wasn't sure about the actual language in a couple of items.
Well, I think just in an abundance of transparency, I think anything that would be substantive or might be material, from the vendor's perspective, should be addressed here. If it's a typo, like some kind of typographical error, I think those could probably be separately sent.
There's a couple that I think may be material. I don't know if you want to go over that or if you want to finish your part and then I can check back in.
No, that's fine to start now.
Okay. So and I'll use the document, not the printed numbers, but document page 55. It's item 170 under condition management resources, where it says describe your DM delivery model. I'm not sure what
I'm sorry, give me just a second here. I'm sorry. So that's that I believe that's disease management, but I'm looking for the page. I'm sorry. What page again? Page.
It's the number of the on the bottom of the page is 48, but the document page is 55.
Got it.
Close the door.
Yeah, I think that's we intended to switch that from disease management to condition management, so it should be consistent. They should all be PM.
Okay, yeah, there's a couple on there, and I got confused because sometimes it said. Okay, good. And then let's see, there was just two more on document page 121. It's the performance guarantee. Starts out claims timeliness at the top, but on the item ongoing ID cards issuance, it specifically says Anthem. I am not sure about that. Is that, could you explain this item?
So Megan or Gordon, Lori, do you want to chime in here? Well,
I'm just not clear why it specifically says Anthem.
Yeah, I think this is in the attachment.
Yeah, I do see that there. That is an oversight. We will make that more generic for the RFP itself.
Okay, no worries. I just got confused by that. And just one last one, 124. Oops, I hit the wrong page. Hold on. 124. There's dispensing accuracy retail and dispensing accuracy mail order, but I think the top one, retail, it still says mail order in the description. So I think perhaps that was copied over by mistake.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And that was all. The rest was just typo, so it's no big deal. Those were the only material things that I saw.
Okay. Thank you.
Shauna, we really appreciate you going through this with such a fine tooth comb. It really is helpful that we see that some of the members really read the information. So thank you.
No worries. It's an illness as much as a benefit for me.
No. This is one of the reasons we share. The more eyes, the better. If I can, I just wanted to take a minute to introduce the Keenan team that's working with the city. I don't know, some of you know me, I'm the practice leader for Keenan. been with Keenan I'm in my 13th year and worked with the city in the past, but working on the team with the city is, I wanted to introduce Megan Gardner. I don't know if a lot of you have met her. She was the benefits chief for the County of San Bernardino, and she has come to Keenan a little over a year ago. She also started her career working for me at the city of Corona. So we're really happy to have her. And then Borden Darm, who is actually the account manager, the day-to-day account manager on Lacers. So the three of us are the primary team here. Megan is the day-to-day go-to, but I just wanted to make sure that I had introduced the team to the JLMBC, and so happy to be working with you. And thank you again, Shauna, for pointing out some of those things we need to change.
And just for the record, Lori, I read it too with Shauna, but not.
Oh no, I know you do. I'm not saying that you don't.
I'm kidding. I'm only kidding.
I'm just grateful for all eyes because we want this to go out perfect, of course. So anyway, nice to meet all of you. For those of you that I haven't met, and hello, David. Nice to see you.
Thanks, Lori. Any other questions or comments on the RFP?
This is Rich. I appreciate the work. I'm ready to move approval with the recommendation of changing the sort of review committee language at this point.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, hey, Paul.
So just for clarification, is the recommendation on the table just for item A, or is it both item A and B? There are two recommendation motions in this report.
Can you repeat the motions, or A and B? What are A and B?
Sure. So the original one is to approve the proposed request for proposal for the LAWell program health plan services, and we're going to amend that one to say as amended. So I believe, if I understood the motion correctly, to approve the proposed request for proposal for LAWell program health plan services as amended. And then the second part is to approve the proposed pledge form regarding conflict of interest, confidentiality, and proposer communications for use by JLMBC members voluntary, and by city staff mandatory, involved in the LAWell program health services development and review process.
My motion was to approve both. The first, as you point out, as amended.
Perfect. And Marlene, still second?
Yes, still seconding both for both.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So now we'll do a roll call vote. We'll go in the same order as before. Dave, your vote?
Aye.
Dave votes aye. Paul, your vote? Oh, I think you've been muted, Paul. We'll circle back to you in 1 second. Marlene, your vote?
Aye.
Marlene votes aye. Chris, I think you joined. Chris, your vote?
Yes.
Chris votes aye. Paul, your vote?
Paul votes aye.
Paul votes aye. Thank you. Moving on to the management side, Wendy, your vote?
Aye.
Wendy votes aye. Neil, your vote?
Aye.
Neil votes aye. Rich, your vote?
Aye.
Rich votes aye. Tony, your vote?
Aye.
Tony votes aye. Matt, your vote?
Aye.
Matt votes aye. That's 4 labor, 5 management. It's unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you, Paul. We can go to the next agenda item, report number 2102.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Ted Vasquez, I'm Personnel Analyst in the Employee Benefits Division. Report 2102 is our staffing reimbursement report for the second quarter of fiscal year 2020-2021. The report requests that the committee approve reimbursements from the Employee Benefits Trust Fund for Personnel Department salary costs of the 3 positions serving the LAWell program and the 2 positions serving the LiveWell program. Attachment A of the report provides the calculation of these costs. And the LAWell program's total reimbursement amount for the second quarter is $123,541.12. And the Live Well program's total reimbursement amount is $88,591.74. And that concludes this report.
Are there any questions, comments regarding the report? Hearing none, we need to make a roll call. Is that for approval also, Paul, on this item?
Correct. This one also needs a roll call vote.
Okay.
Wait, do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion to approve.
No.
Second. I'll second it. Paul.
Okay. And just to clarify, this is for both items as well, A and B.
What was B?
So it's separated between the LAL program dollars and the Live Well program dollars.
Yes, for both.
Paul, can we have a motion that re-utters or that restates the A and B? Sorry, for the record.
Sure. So I can go ahead and read it out if you like. Or Marlene, do you just want to state that?
I mean, I'll make a motion to approve reimbursements A and B and staff report. Oh, is it a report? Oh, yeah, go ahead and make it, Paul.
Okay. So the motion on the table is to approve the reimbursements from the Employee Benefits Trust Fund in the amount of $123,541.12. And to approve the reimbursements from the Employee Benefit Trust Fund Wellness account for the Live Well program in the amount of $88,591.74.
Yes. That.
And a second from Paul?
Paul, yeah, it's a second.
Okay, perfect. Then we're all set. We'll do the roll call vote again in the same order. Dave, your vote?
Yes.
Dave votes aye. Paul, your vote?
Yes, aye.
Paul votes aye. Marlene, your vote?
Aye.
Marlene votes aye. Chris, your vote?
Yes.
Chris votes aye. Wendy, your vote? Wendy, you're there?
Sorry, aye.
Wendy votes aye. Neil, your vote?
Aye.
Neil votes aye. Rich, your vote?
Aye.
Rich votes aye. Tony, your vote?
Aye.
Tony votes aye. And Matt, your vote?
Aye.
Matt votes aye. That's 4 labor, 5 management. It's all unanimous. The motion passes.
Thank you, Paul. We'll go to item number 6, Committee Report 2103.
Hi, good morning. This is Jenny from Employee Benefits Division. So this is our monthly wellness program activity report covering activities for the month of December of 2020. So in December, we continued with wellness programming delivered virtually over Zoom by offering live exercise classes during the daytime and in the evening. Classes included Pilates, yoga, kickboxing, Zumba, functional fitness, Tai Chi, circuit training, and boot camp. We also continue to host live follow-along cooking demonstrations on Wednesday evenings. In total, we did hold fewer classes in December due to the holidays, but we still had over 1,000 engagements with the Zoom classes. So we're glad to continue to be able to deliver programming virtually over Zoom and continue to see the engagement we've been getting. Additionally, in November, we also hosted our first virtual 5K to encourage city employees to get active over the holiday break and further promote engagement with Live Well's online wellness platform and mobile app, livewell.la. We had over 500 employees participate in the 5K, and we were excited to see posts on Live Well social media from employees posting about their 5K journeys. People also got their families involved, so it's great to see everybody getting involved in the event. So given the success of that event, we're also launching a citywide 4-week STEPS team challenge that will actually kick off on Monday of next week. So we're excited to get that rolling at the beginning of the year. And then we have a few more virtual events that we have planned later in the year as well. So that concludes the presentation. Any questions on this?
Jenny, I had a question. This is Shauna. The flu campaign, were there final numbers? I'm curious to know. Maybe it's a little bit too soon to say, but
yeah, it's a little too soon. We're still wrapping up the data. Yeah, so thanks, Shauna, for bringing that up. We'll be bringing that back at the next meeting.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem.
Hey, this is Neil. Quick question. With respect to our carriers, have we requested any reusable masks that we could distribute to employees from the carriers?
We actually I think Kaiser has some masks, but we have not asked Anthem.
Okay, I just wanted to point out that Lacers did make requests of our health plan carriers, and they all to provide us with several thousand masks that we're distributing to our retired members. And they seem to have a willingness to do that for the active members as well. And just wanted to encourage you guys to reach out to them and see if we can get some more masks out to our active employees as well.
Absolutely.
And again, do we need a motion to accept this report? Is that where we are?
No, this one's a receive and file.
Receive and file. Okay. And hearing no other questions, we can move on to the next agenda item then. Committee report 03, is that where we are? Or 04?
04.
Good morning, all. This is Chung, and this report is for the December projects and activities. First up is the 2021 open enrollment update. During the month of December, staff worked with Morneau to review and validate the 2021 open enrollment elections and complete the benefit data transmission to the LA Well program benefits provider. An OE summary report is currently scheduled for the March JLMBC meeting. The second project update is regarding the Affordable Care Act. Staff has been working with EY to review and reconcile the preliminary 2020 ACA file, and the final data files was provided to Ernst & Young last month. Staff is currently working with EY to review the final ACA file and is on track to furnish the 1095 forms by the January 31st deadline. Moving on to page 2, the third project update is regarding the Optum presentation. During last month's JLMBC meeting, the committee had asked several questions of the Optum presentation that required additional information. Optum has obtained the necessary information and has provided a response to each question in the report. If you have any questions, any additional questions relating to the Optum presentation, please let us know. On page 3 is the fourth project update. This is regarding the 2021 Consolidated Appropriations Act, or CAA for short. The CAA was passed by Congress in late December and signed into law on December 27th. Contained within this CAA are certain COVID-19 related relief provisions that are of interest to the LA Well program. These provisions are being presented as guidance for employer consideration. Staff has been in discussions with Health Equity to review the provisions and implementation requirements. Once the requirements are determined and identified, LA Well program members will receive notification and instructions regarding any adopted changes. The last project update is regarding the reimbursement of employee testing for the Los Angeles World Airports. LAWA had reached out to EBD staff and the JLMBC chairperson, David Sanders, regarding the establishment of a process for the city's health plans to be charged for COVID-19 testing services. Staff and Mr. Sanders are working with both Kaiser and Anthem to establish the necessary administrative and billing process. And finally, EBD filled one vacant position through the targeted local hire program. Teresa Rubio recently accepted the office trainee position effective January 4th. Teresa is new to the city. And that brings us to the end of the reports. Are there any questions I can answer?
Hi, this is Shona. I had a question about the Consolidated Appropriations Act. I know we're seeing this across a lot of our employers. What is the timeline for the decision about which provisions to implement, and is that something that's going to be brought to JLMBC before it is rolled out, or it just kind of, in the report, it kind of seems like it's going to happen and you're just going to send it out to members, but I want to make sure that there's is there some role for us to play in that?
So I can jump in and answer that, I think. There isn't necessarily a strict timeline. There's not necessarily a deadline as long as the changes happen in 2021. The only thing that we're working out really is just the administrative function on how we can do it and what needs to happen before it goes live. But that's really the timeline that we're working on, if that makes sense. Does that fully answer your question?
Mostly, is that something that we're going to see a report on?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. And then I just wanted to say, thank you guys for, we appreciate working with the city on getting this testing for our members and smoothing out that process on the front end for them. And, I just wanted to, something we kind of didn't discuss, but I wanted to make sure that, the testing isn't seen as a mandatory thing, that it would still be voluntary, even though we're smoothing out the process. So I just wanted to make sure that was mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, on that, I mean, we went from our role, we're not our staff aren't involved in anything related to, the testing and sort of whether it's mandatory or not. We're helping to facilitate this process that needs to be set up between the vendor, the LAWA vendor, and being able to, and then to work with Kaiser and Anthem when they're invoicing those costs back to the health plans.
Thank you, and we appreciate working with you guys on that. Thank you.
Of course.
Are there any other comments? And this is also just a receiving file or file?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, there we go. So then we'll go to the next, which is the concluding items, which is always fun. Request for future agenda items. Are there any? Hearing none, we will rely on the reporting and the agenda from the staff here. Our next meeting date is February 11th. I appreciate the efficiency in which we moved through this stuff. And Paul has something to say. Yes.
Oh yeah, and actually, the February 11th meeting, I'm not sure there's a whole lot to discuss on that agenda, and maybe there's a consideration that meeting be canceled. On the agenda, if we could go to the project and activities report, you can see an attachment A of it. We're going to actually only have a couple items listed. So there's a benefit presentation, and then the RFP that you just saw were the only items that we had for that agenda meeting. So I'm not sure if you feel that there's a need to meet necessarily.
Well, I would like
move it
not
to March.
cancel.
Let's move it to March.
Well, I would just, before you make a decision on that, I'd like to leave an open date in February, and we can always cancel it and reschedule to March. I don't want to eliminate a February date this time, but I will. There's a will of the committee to move the whole thing to March. We can go that direction also. I want to leave it on calendar for right now.
Yeah, and Dave, we as the chair, we could work with you just on sort of,
okay,
looking at that agenda or sort of what's planned before making any decisions.
Okay.
So from my perspective, obviously we'll hold it. If you don't need the meeting, you'll cancel it as we get closer.
That's correct. Okay. Any other items need to be discussed? Did we miss anything? Any other thoughts, comments? Anyone would like to share? Anyone would like to wish us well?
Goodwill. Goodbye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Do we need a motion for adjournment? I'm sorry. Yes, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second, Tony.
It's been seconded by Tony Royster. Yes, I think we're all in favor. So, thank you all. Have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul.